Apparently, Vlad decided to do an interview where he's taking shots at me and throwing me.
This is Aries Spears, shamelessly trying to explain himself after becoming the latest victim of a game.
Was he started out by saying, "We not friends."
In this game, the person gets bothered by DJ Vlad and claims not to return again.
VladTV was built on the free labor of black people.
And somehow, they all ended up back.
All right, here we go.
In the chair.
Interview nobody saw coming.
That's the part with DJ Vlad most people miss. Not the interviews, not the indictments, not the culture vulture accusations. The chair. Because at some point, Vlad began to build a platform with a revolving door where rappers, comedians, street dudes, activists, and crash outs all eventually rotate back into position.
All right, here we go. We have Adrian Broner back on Vlad TV. All right, here we go. TK Kirkland, welcome back to Vlad TV. All right, here we go. Godfrey, what's up? Welcome back.
Thank you.
Vlad figured out something most media personalities never did. Enemies interview better than friends.
Well, our last interview did big numbers, but then you started talking bad about me after the interview.
And what's wild is the more people tried to leave Vlad TV, the more important the chair became.
Come to find out, Boosie wanted 35,000 an episode. Wow. He was getting 25,000.
Wow. This is the story of a man who figured out controversy doesn't destroy relationships in hip-hop media anymore.
We couldn't come up with an agreement. He ain't want to pay me.
It schedules the next interview.
Here we go, the mighty return of Charleston White.
Turning rap culture into a game of musical chairs where nobody really walks away. They just wait for the next round to start.
And let me be clear, I'd like to apologize to Minister Farrakhan for misquoting him back in 2020.
This is the cap story of DJ Vlad.
You got cap in your raps. You got cap in your raps.
Vladislav Luyubovany emerged from the digital mixtape scene in the late 2000s.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy DJ Vlad the Butcher.
Essentially becoming known from his Rap Phenomenon series.
So when I first moved to New York, no one was messing with me. Just so pick me up on Harlem 100.
As the MP3 era was ending, making way for streaming, the Ukrainian would make the transition to YouTube, creating an interview-centered channel with guests being a mixture of black entertainers and internet personalities.
I beat my cases. I'm good. So you have what kind of case? A homicide coming to your mama house case.
Pump a 6 and a 20 ounce.
If you even know that language.
The formula worked, but maybe not the way Vlad wanted, transitioning to digital reporting where T became the product. And Vlad would be one of the main platforms behind the biggest cap moments in history, from one who deserves a cap story of his own.
Trick Daddy recently accused you of working as a prison guard at one point, Rick. Is there any truth to that?
Officer Ricky.
No, that's not true.
These pictures that you've seen of Ricky in a correctional officer's uniform were first reported by Vlad, but the consequences will come quicker than others.
How about me cracking Vlad over the head, Super Saiyan style, like I'm finna dunk a basketball?
After exposing Rick Ross, destroying the little street credibility he had, Vlad figured Ross wouldn't touch a white man with an Israeli background, but Maybach Music would do just that.
And I hit him over the head with a f***ing bottle full of act.
Resulting in a 6-figure payout from the officer. The caveat is, it would bring a new slew of eyes on him digitally, and that's when he would introduce the chair. Sometimes a couch, but mostly a chair. Lo and behold, the chair would bring the clout, and it was the clout that would make artists say crazy things, producing some of hip-hop's most well-known cap stories.
Spun the nigga around, and I put the nigga in a full Nelson, because once the shots was going off,
bow, 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 bow.
Shut the fuck up with that. Okay.
But the part he's mostly known for is the controversy it caused. Vlad realized that if exposing a correction officer's past could bring eyes, then documenting a rapper's present could bring power. That's when the interviews stopped being conversations and started becoming evidence.
I robbed a couple niggas, took some bricks from some people.
Being a deep and personal journal to one of the biggest no-cap crash outs yet.
Cause I kidnapped, I robbed.
AR-AB.
When he said I killed the nigga.
Vlad would be one of the few platforms the Philly artists would use to boast and brag about real demon time, resulting in being sentenced to decades of prison time, with Vlad footage included as evidence.
And I did that, I seen him do it!
And then there was No Plug, who detailed a story that was all too real of him killing crosstown rival Bankroll Fresh.
So when he fired the shot, shots was fired back, and I left.
If I was back with fresh people, I'd have felt some type of way too.
They do feel some type of way.
Vlad will be the first of a few hip-hop investigators that will produce interviews so real they will become court case displays.
You got a couple niggas indicted.
I don't think anybody indicted.
You got a couple niggas indicted.
I didn't get a single person indicted.
Though this would not fly well with the culture, the clout made the chair even more important, and with importance comes politics, which the true game of musical chairs would begin.
Crazy, man. DJ Vlad, why you want to smoke with me? Vlad, I ain't known as a liar. Your story, in fact, is not true.
The saga first began when somehow, some way, Tommy Sotomayor and Tariq Nasheed had conflicting schedules for interviews.
What's up, Crispy? I had to give you your award, Crispy. Crispy.
I did not set this up. You set this up? Yes, you
Crispy.
did.
I had to, Crispy.
I have no idea. Then why is
Crispy.
Somehow, Tariq had trophies and awards on hand for Tommy.
Where's the killing, though, Crispy?
You the one said you was gonna kill me, nigga. I had to kill you.
Anybody want to kill your crispy ball spot having ass?
You the one who
well,
said
here's your award, Crispy. Here's your award.
Since video and audio leaked, the situation became a big ordeal, and both Tommy and Tariq will be blacklisted from the chair. This would also be a part of a scathing back and forth that will continue till this day between Tariq Nasheed and Tommy Sotomayor.
But I pulled up on this nigga. He sat there with a tear in his eye. He knew not to do all that jumping up and screaming.
How is that a win that you're in an interview and someone walks in? What was I supposed to punch him? Because he got a phone in one hand and a train in the other.
Meanwhile, Vlad barely reacted. Guests rotated out. New ones rotated in.
All right, here we go. My big homie, Big Trade E.
And somehow, the chair kept getting bigger.
All right, here we go. We have Adrian Broner back on Vlad TV. All right, here we go. TK Kirkland, welcome back to Vlad TV. All right, here we go. Godfrey, what's up? Welcome back.
Thank you.
Well, eventually, we all figured out Vlad's views don't quite align with the community, taking offense to some comment made by Minister Farrakhan, seemingly starting a personal war from words taken out of context.
This is not looking good for you right now, bro. You don't understand who the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, what he represents to a lot of people in the black community.
Comedians and entertainers alike would make do of the opportunity, not only addressing the Farrakhan situation, but his vulture-like tactics as a whole, one being Corey Holcomb.
So now I find out that he tried to get one of our elites, the minister, Farrakhan, to do a show, and Farrakhan didn't do the show. And he felt some kind of way about that because Vlad gets in his feelings when you get to talking about his people. And I want to say this in case Vlad is watching. Your people are the dirtbag Hollywood running motherfuckers.
The community tried to boycott him, but the clout was too addictive. Though some would refuse to make appearances, others would hop right back in the seat.
All right, here we go. Aries Spears, welcome back to Vlad TV.
Some of the first to take offense would be Vlad regulars Godfrey and Lord Jamar.
If we're going to be totally honest, Vlad TV was built the same way America was built, on the free labor of black people.
The two would create their own platform and mostly keep it cordial, until one night, live on air, a vicious debate about a flat earth would disrupt things a bit.
If he can present me a working model of a ball that water sticks to the outside of it, yes, as it rotates, I'll gladly sit down and have a talk with him.
But Jamar began insulting me before I was even introduced, so I decided to just lace into him from the first moment. Even though my volume was dramatically lower than theirs, even though he was talking over me constantly, even though there was barely any attempt by Godfrey to moderate him so that I could get equal speaking time.
When they were going back and forth, Dave didn't stand down. He was like, no, you don't. Fuck you talking about?
I still took a big steamy dump all over him and made him look dumber than rocks in front of his own audience.
After getting outgunned on a topic he capped on, Jamar would threaten to sue his friend Godfrey for setting up a play he wrote himself.
He said, I'm gonna take some legal action, you know, if you, and then he goes, I didn't sign anything to show my, it's like, that you can't, you've been on my podcast before, now you're doing this legal shit.
Suddenly, he would find himself back in the seat.
All right, here we go.
When the music between Godfrey and Jamar stopped playing, his protest ended as well.
The interview nobody saw coming.
He's going back to Vlad, man. I'm like, wow.
He's just not a solid dude, man.
And he was saying that I was going to go and sell out and go back to Vlad, and he just went back to Vlad.
I knew from the minute he said, well, let's just take a break.
I'm not going back. You out your mind?
That was a red flag to me.
While Godfrey would stay clear, it was obvious Jamar was everything but over the situation. Meanwhile, it was clear that Vlad didn't understand Godfrey turning down the chair.
I actually ran into Godfrey. We both stand up. And, you know, he's walking by. I said, "What's up, Godfrey?" He goes, "Okay." And he runs off real quick.
Though Jamar folded, the message was still clear with some, that Vlad's platform was no place for someone all about the culture.
Yet when it came to Farrakhan, you misquoted him and refused to apologize.
Eventually, Vladislav would figure this out and do a cat tour apology to make sure business is straight.
And let me be clear, I would like to apologize to Minister Farrakhan for misquoting him back in 2020.
But there was another side to the coin. The chair stopped being an interview platform. It became a status symbol. Refusing Vlad publicly sounded righteous until the views slowed down somewhere else. Sure enough, every public fallout somehow made the chair look more important. But the culture will find its own way to remind Vlad where he belonged. But the effect wouldn't be what one would presume. During the epic Kendrick Lamar and Drake battle, he happened to bring up mixing in the middle of the battle. The Princeton professor didn't take too kindly to those words, so Vlad did the pettiest thing he could do, attempt to get the woman fired for gatekeeping. That did it. Trying to get a black woman fired over Twitter beef was diabolical.
I truly hope you black artists stop going to Vlad.
We need to start lashing out at the black artists and black people who constantly go on his show to help them out.
You see what happens when you hype people up, such as DJ Vlad, in the culture, and someone tries to correct him, and now he's threatening to contact that lady's university?
After 2 apologies, Vlad would counter, bringing on an old friend who would claim his seat back, Tariq Nasheed.
All right, here we go. The interview nobody saw coming.
The game of musical chairs was in full effect, but in this game, it will be the house that will make a costly mistake. Before we go too far in this video, hit that like button and apply pressure to that subscribe button.
There's some legendary interviews. The Breakfast Club, DJ Vlad, Everyday Struggle. Which one would you say is your favorite one and why?
All you know what I'm saying? No, nah, just playing DJ Vlad. You feel me? I say the Breakfast Club.
The Breakfast Club, why?
At some point, Vlad stopped feeling like a blogger. He started feeling permanent. Maybe it was the numbers that would get to him. But the business for the DJ began to be sloppy, and this would have an adverse effect for Vlad and the chair as well.
This is why at jobs, I know at your job they usually say you can't tell your coworkers where you're getting paid.
The wounds will be self-inflicted, as an angry Vlad, not happy he didn't get his way, telling his show regular all the details of the botched deal.
Do you know how much they asked for a Marlon Wayans interview?
I can't wait to hear it.
Soon, you'll see Aries was listening, but the internet as well.
$40,000 plus 30% of all future revenue.
40,000 and 30% of all future earnings would sound stale to the Russian. This would lead to a public back and forth between the two, where Vlad culture vulture status was mentioned as well as Marlon's sexuality. So of course, there'd be no chair for Marlon, but even more, Vlad had made a grave mistake, because now numbers were being mentioned. That was a mistake Vlad would make over and over again.
The most money you ever spent for an interview?
Yes.
What was that number?
So adjustments had to be made.
I don't want to say it was more than Marlon Wayans asked for.
And those were the exact sentiments of Boosie, who sat in the chair for years and considered Vlad a friend.
Do Vlad no more?
A friend that needed to pay up.
We couldn't come up with a agreement. He didn't want to pay me. I wanted $5,000 more than he wanted to pay me. He didn't want to pay me, so.
25,000 was the old number. The new number is now 30,000. Vlad would digress.
Hey, one time, so I got to get paid good. I'm sorry, I don't need a podcast.
People are looking at Boosie like a joke, and he's gonna take that out on you because you're the person who keeps dragging it.
I don't need a podcast to be successful, bro.
And Charleston's coming back to VladTV, by the way.
Right, which kind of feels like a Boosie shot.
No, it's not.
Inadvertently, it works as one, though.
Boosie going to jail. I'm so happy, I'm happy. I'm going to celebrate.
He asked me for a favor to not do business with Charleston.
You should have snitched, Boosie.
Being that this was the biggest, guest at VladTV, he had that type of grace to do that.
I'm gonna be honest, Boosie has not said anything to you in a while. And if Boosie's your friend, you don't want to kick his back in just because you have other people who will do interviews with you.
All right, here we go. The mighty return of Charleston White to VladTV.
Yeah.
The two would have a mutual split that would be more cordial than the one Vlad would have with Spears, who had a problem hearing these 5-figure digits being thrown around while he was pulling in 4K an interview. His demand would change as well, which would be met with laughter.
Come to find out, Boosie wanted $35,000 an episode. Wow. He was getting $25,000.
Wow.
So I don't get nowhere near that. And I basically said to Vlad, I go, hey, listen, man, I'm not trying to you financially. I know I'm not going to ask you for what you gave Boosie, but, you know, come on, man. I mean, break bread. Break bread.
Aries Spears, you on the list of people that should be happy to get whatever crumbs they getting.
Do you think that I'm making 50,000, 20,000 off these interviews? I'm not.
Apparently, Vlad decided to do an interview where he's taking shots at me and throwing me under the bus.
There's not a lot of money in this. This is why I don't care about him walking away. Like, cool, go. I'm cool. Get out of here.
Was he started out by saying, we not friends.
Little bitchy type that he says about me.
You've said to me in my face on multiple occasions that we are friends.
Oh, that's a narcissist and all that, you know, like the little...
But now all of a sudden, because I asked you for a bump in pay and that pissed you off, we're not friends?
Not only that, a classic game of musical chairs would go another round. After days of roasting Spears, the show began to have new particular guests.
This is stand-up comedy only. This is not their other skill sets or whatever else. Ryan Davis or Effion Crockett?
Ryan Davis.
Ryan Davis or Pierre?
Ryan Davis.
All right, here we go. The mighty return of Ryan Davis back on Vlad TV.
With a surprise to all being Vlad finally collaborating with, yes, Corey Holcomb, where he would take the chair on the 5150 show after the hiatus between the two.
Listen, I don't want to have a situation where it looks like everyone's leaving Vlad TV because Vlad TV isn't paying people what they deserve. And that's what people were trying to push.
I want to say this in case Vlad is watching. Yo people are the dirtbag Hollywood running motherfuckers.
The Aries Spears situation. Someone sent me a video of Aries agreeing to do a podcast in Toronto for $500. There's the show that you were on, he wanted to do it for $200.
Show I was on with the guys in Detroit.
Yeah, $200. But $4,000 is a problem.
Yeah.
If you haven't connected the bridge yet, here's some help.
Niggas out of light skin. Yeah. They wish they could be black. I don't drink. I'm very clear-minded. Oh, hold up. Oh.
But just like the others, Aries would have his invitation to sit in the chair, but only under certain stimulations.
You can come back and do a free interview, but there's certain rules to this, right? Number one, no makeup.
One thing's clear, if Vlad's canceled, then I'd like to know by who. And if he's the culture vulture we all claim,
all right, here we go. Lil Woody, welcome back to Vlad TV.
Where's him?
Then why are so many willing to fight for the chair? But Vlad, as well as the chair, would maintain a stigma of one of rap's secret informants.
I have a confession. Rock Nation been paying me to support Megan.
To the point, he will play along with the story, a story that the internet didn't see as fables being as much as they love conspiracies.
I do believe it is sarcastic. Absolutely.
I have a confession. The Mexican guy who stabbed Tori, who do you think paid him to do that?
You're using Tori to make everybody who has believed any of these things look like a complete idiot for everything.
Joking as if he's the villain they all hope he'd be.
The whole purpose of these tweets is to show people how gullible they actually are. That's the joke. The joke wasn't my tweet, it was the reaction, and I was right.
As well as not hesitating to alert everyone he knows his worth.
This month, Vlad TV's YouTube channel is on track to get the most views since the pandemic. Meanwhile, they're doing interviews on their own platforms and getting almost no views.
And maybe that's the strangest part about all this. After all the accusations, after all the fallouts, the chair still matters because Vlad figured something out before almost everyone else in the hip-hop media did. In the internet era, relevance is stronger than respect. That's why the cycle never ends. Guests leave, guests expose them, guests crash out publicly, then eventually they come back. Because Vlad doesn't end relationships.
Well, our last interview did big numbers, but then you start talking bad about me after the interview.
He archives them.
All right, here we go. Whack 100. Welcome back to Vlad TV.
Not because they forgive Vlad, because disappearing is worse. And once the music stops, everybody starts looking for a seat again. The real question isn't whether Vlad is a culture vulture. The real question is why so many people keep volunteering to feed the bird. Because this musical chairs game didn't stop with Vlad TV. Now, the whole culture moves like this. And if you think Vlad's chair is bad, wait till we get to this next person. Thank you for watching. If you really want to support this channel, please subscribe to my Patreon. I have exclusive videos over there and all of these cap stories, unfiltered, uncut, raw, Also, add me on Twitter, IG, and TikTok. You never know if something were to happen to my page. Well, anyways, you know how we like to end our videos over here at Moxy Approved, right? With that water. I'll see y'all here next time on Moxy Approved.